Alright folks, so I've just been spending time fixing up the injectors and other stuff, so the plan is to live stream tonight, attempting to start it again at around 9 to 9:30 p.m., 10 p.m. at the latest, I would say. So please come join me for that. In the meantime, you can watch all the stuff I did today to diagnose and assist in the engine starting. Let me know in the comments what you think, and maybe we can get more than one cylinder to fire. I've also had the cylinder soaking overnight, and I'm going to try to purge that before we try to start it, so we'll see what happens. Alright folks, going to try to pull the injectors and clean them and do some other stuff, pull the distributor, see what it looks like. I am tired today and sore all over. Got my best friend here, one of them anyway, you know. But yeah, let's try not to knock that over and get to work. So exciting stuff last night. I actually got one cylinder to fire out of 4, so not good enough. I've seen a Subaru run on 2 cylinders before, but those are fully functional cylinders, so you know, I've got some mixed liquid wrench and ATF soaking in there, as you probably saw at the beginning, and now I'm going to work on pulling off the fuel rail. Girlfriend's here chilling with the dog, and I'm just checking relays. So these are the EFI and the injection relay. I've got a my standard LiPo battery hooked up, and you can see on these they have a diagram, pins 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's referencing off this to be on the right, that little notch, and then 1, 2 is where you make the connection, 3, 4 is the switch connection, so 1 and 2 are the bottom pins. So if I give them power, you can hear a click. See? And then I can do the same thing with this one. Sounds a little bit stronger, if anything. So that's good. Then the next thing I want to do is just check the resistance, which is a little more complicated, but it says 7.8 ohms, 8 ohms maybe. So, I mean, that seems fine to me. There we go. 5.9, 5.8. So, just as good, if not better. So both of these relays check out as good. Sorry if you couldn't see the readings, but as far as I know, that's a fine reading. Somebody let me know in the comments otherwise. Less than 10 ohms resistance on these relays when they click to on. The thing I can do real quick is just check that there's continuity on all these fuses here, even though I can pull them and see that they're good. This is a 5 amp for charging. That's not encouraging. 10 amp for engine. 15 amp for EFI. 10 amp, even though it says it's supposed to be 15 amp for radio. 7.5 for AM2, who cares? And 20 amp for vent fan. So the only one that didn't register is this 5 amp for charge. There we go. Just didn't have a good connection. So all those fuses check out. There are also fuses in the frunk, but I don't think most of them have to do with engine-y goodness. I think I'm going to pull off this distributor cap first, just because it's the easier job. Tell you what, this little Craftsman set comes in handy so often. It was like 20 bucks on sale when I got it. Totally worth it. There she is. Either cheese threads or wrong size. I actually learned recently that there's 2 types of Phillips. There's the Japanese standards and the US standards, and part of the reason why we strip so many screws in the US is we're using the US standards on Japanese heads. Probably like this one. Damn. But finding a set of Japanese Phillips is really hard. This is the big one, probably not going to work at all. Okie dokie, so plan B. Alright, well I kind of just made this socket happen. It fits onto the bottom part really easily, just not this top part, so I don't know if the plastic got deformed or what, but it's on there now, so. It didn't take very much force. I didn't think it would, but My dad always says at least half of mechanic work is done by feel. Pretty much true. Go watch my My Dad the Legend, the video, if y'all haven't seen it. Throw up a card for that. Pretty hilarious. He talks about old cars a bunch and stuff you've never heard of. Do you know what inboard brakes are? Because if not, watch that video and you'll learn. This is the distributor cap. Basically looks brand new, honestly. Tiny bit of corrosion on those surfaces that I could clean off real quick. And then I don't know if this rotor has a retainer of any kind. It must have some kind of screw or something, you would think, right? Nope, just pulls right off apparently. Again, also looks pretty much brand new. Put this little piece flung out. Uh-oh. I'm guessing that goes in there. Check this out. Made in the USA. Haha. But yeah, this looks fine. Again, I could clean it a little bit. Distributor. I'll have to give it a look in just a second because I can't really see this. Alright, so I quickly sanded the top of the rotor and just the front just a little bit just so they're shiny and clean. And I did the same thing to all the contacts in the distributor and the button just a tiny bit so that they all make really good contact. It was really fine sandpaper and I just sanded them a little bit so they shouldn't be out of spec or anything like that. Blew it out with an air gun. Another thing to check too, of course, is all the leads. See if they're good. And basically just should be shiny. That's the part that actually makes contact in this case, so I might bend that out to be a nicer circle, but you know, should be totally fine. That looks nice and shiny. I'll check all of them and make sure they look like that, but it's pretty clear to me that this distributor cap and rotor were replaced shortly before I got the car, or at least at some point, and haven't gotten all corroded. The leads are not in perfect shape, but they're obviously working and should be good enough, so I'm going to leave them for now. I was right about this little thing, by the way. It's just a little clip that holds this in, so you just kind of push this in place here. Holds it on to the distributor shaft. Alright, so I reassembled the whole distributor, just tightened up all those connections a little bit, you know, expanded the connectors for the spark plug wires and sanded off a little bits of corrosion, so that's like 100% now. And now I'm going to take off the fuel rail, which is going to be a little bit of work, but shouldn't be too complicated. Oop, just noticed something bad. Check this out. Totally threaded in that bolt, not right in the dark. And I'm guessing this rail is made out of aluminum, so when I extract it, I'm definitely going to have to correct that. I need to bend that out of the way anyway so that the throttle linkage can actually clear, but not glad I did that. Would really suck if I had to retap that hole, but it looks like it'll be savable. But at least it did seal up, for whatever that's worth. Found an escape route. And there's the rail with the injectors. They definitely look like they could use a cleaning, huh? Alright. Well, it's looking like we might have a storm. At least I can work on these in the garage, but that's kind of a bummer. Whew. Well, it was a very brief storm, but injector work is good for the garage anyway, so. Alright, this is CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner. Who knows how that'll do, but I'm gonna try it. Alright, to me that looks much better, so I'm going to do some MAF cleaner on all of them. See, that looks like a much more normal spray pattern to me. Alright, I'll watch all that back just to make sure I'm not crazy, but it seems like they each have a decent spray pattern, and given that I'm not pushing the full pressure of this, it's probably around, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 90 psi going through that air hose, so that about makes sense. Alright folks, so I did clean the injectors, and so far as I can tell, they're all working. If you disagree or think they weren't functioning properly, please let me know in the comments. I honestly don't have a lot of experience cleaning injectors or dealing with them in general. So the plan for right now is I'm going to throw those all back on the car, and I am going to try to start it again tonight, live, hopefully sometime by 9 p.m. I'd say. I'm going to shoot for 9 p.m., but I have to edit and upload this real quick, and it'll probably come out around 8, so 9 to 9:30, but hopefully no later than that. So please join me for that. Please watch the other videos leading up to this one, and maybe we'll get better starting. I've also had the cylinder soaking overnight. Thanks a lot.